Thank you. I'd like to start off by thanking those that are dedicated to attend a lot of meetings here recently on the Riceville First Committee, and for all of you sitting in the bleachers here to hear the message tonight. It seems like, well, Lynn Howe and I were sitting down and talking about tonight's message, and we started talking about how that would look, how the program would look, and she said that she would probably wing it, and I said I'd probably take notes, and I was hoping to use Josh's teleprompter, but he didn't bring it with him. So, I guess my job for the night is to explain a little bit about school finance and answer two questions. We were having a meeting last night, and we said, if there's two questions that can be answered, why don't you give it a try? So, how did we get here, and what can we do about it? We know that the state funding formula sets our spending authority amounts at, I'll use roughly $6,000 per student coming into the school. We know that it is illegal to overspend our budget according to Iowa law. We know that this brings reductions to balance next year's school budget, impacting programs and offerings that we value as a school and a community. So how did we get here? The number one reason is declining enrollment. We know that in the last 10 years we have lost approximately 30% of our student population. We know that we average 22 students per grade level. That's lower than it used to be, but the good news is it's at least a level line. We can't take any section of school and sort it out and say, well, there's high numbers and there's low numbers to come. We know that it averages 22 students per grade level, and that looks to continue in the near future. We know that rural Iowa's population has been changing, and we see the effects in smaller student numbers. In fact, 70% of Iowa's schools are facing declining enrollment issues. Yet we still have a certain amount of infrastructure that we need to provide, coupled with the cost of inflation. If I could borrow an analogy, it would be similar to somebody farming 2,000 acres with a 24-row planter 10 years ago, and now covering 1,400 acres with the same planter, and it's not as simple as just reducing the size of your planter. There are things that we need to maintain, there's a building that we need to maintain, there are bus routes we still need to cover the ground, etc. Still need to heat the building. We know that we are not alone, as Lynn said, regardless of the school size. We know that recent news suggests that Mason City will reduce $3.5 million, and Fort Dodge will reduce $1.9 million from their budget. Those look like big numbers, and they are big numbers, but in perspective, they're very similar to what we will be looking to reduce here at Riceville. In recent years, we have seen nearly every neighboring district struggle with financial issues in some form. The difference, reductions in a larger district may mean a reduced number of sections of a class. At Riceville, it is likely that we may have one section of that class, and so thereby, any further reduction would mean that we would jeopardize our accreditation or the classes that we need to offer according to state of Iowa guidelines for a public school. So that's kind of how we got here. What can we do about it? We can start by just what we're doing here tonight. We're organizing and we're caring about school in our community. But I'm going to offer a story of a school very similar in size to us from Northwest Iowa. And some of you have probably heard the story already, but I'm going to start from the beginning. West Bend Mallard is a school district that, regardless of when you look at the enrollment, 10 years ago or even today, they are within 10 students of us. They have lost the same percentages of students, and I guess the finances caught up to them a little bit quicker in that in 2009, 4 years ago, they were basically told by the state of Iowa that under their financial constrictions, they were going to have to be shutting down their school. And so what they did as a town is they organized themselves, and in 18 days, they raised $850,000. Did I say 8? I meant 18. Not a big difference, so very small amount of time. I think that there are some important messages from talking to the people that I talked to from the West Bend Mallard School District. Through this process, the residents of the West Bend Mallard District have an understanding of some key points. I have five of those written down. Number one, they understand that their enrollment has dropped, that they are a smaller school, and that it will take a great deal of effort to maintain the state accreditation standards. They understand that. They understand, number two, that their current state funding formula alone will not meet all of their financial needs due to their infrastructure. Third point, they understand that it is necessary to continue communication with legislators to express the need for funding, though they know that things can take time. As a note, I don't think small schools are asking for special funding, rather access to funding that exists in their accounts, like their cash reserves. And that's what would be most helpful in our case. The fourth point, they understand that the school and community are important to each other, and that the community will financially support that school. And the last point, they understand the need for ongoing fundraising. They have an achievement banquet every year where they celebrate the achievements of their students and work to raise funds again to keep the school going. And I think it's a neat story, and I think it's one that we can work to emulate. We've already seen the beginning of the fundraising effort with the PTO fundraiser, and I think that has been met with energy and enthusiasm. We know the Riceville community has a strong history of coming together and helping each other out and supporting programs that we are proud of. And I just looked at the community will do the same in this case. And I think that is about all for my message tonight. So thank you for listening. Thanks for coming.